Hello, everyone. My name is Sethuraman Panchanathan, and I'm the Director of the National Science Foundation. It is an honor to be a part of the National Academy of Inventors' 11th Annual Conference and to join you in celebrating this fantastic organization. It was great to be with all of you in person last year. On behalf of the entire National Science Foundation, I want to extend my sincerest congratulations to NAI and all its contributing members for their persistence and dedication to this organization's mission. Although I cannot be there with you all in person this year, I look forward to hosting everyone next year for the 12th Annual NAI Conference, which will be held here in Washington, D.C. As a founding member, I'm so proud of this organization and its ability to enhance the visibility of great inventors such as yourselves and inspire the next generation of students whose innovations will transform our society. For years, I've had the distinct honor of working with NAI in a variety of roles. It is always a pleasure to collaborate with so many talented individuals who continue to devote their time and efforts to cultivating the global innovative spirit. As we move forward, NSF will continue to look to NAI to help mentor and inspire young researchers around the world. The work you have done over the last 11 years is truly inspiring. And in honor of the spirit of innovation, I'm so excited to announce a brand new step NSF is taking to accelerate scientific progress. NSF just recently launched a brand new Directorate for Technology, Innovation, and Partnerships, or TIP for short. This is NSF's first new directorate in over 30 years, and this is truly a tremendous and important moment for our agency. Our new TIP Directorate will establish seed funding to incentivize the scaling up of public and private partnerships, providing co-funding to specifically enable strategic high-impact relationships that will further deepen and advance NSF's mission across all areas of science, engineering, and education. As inventors and innovators, the new TIP Directorate will unleash the amazing ideas that you are working on now and will continue to work on into the future. At NSF, we are always thinking about how to supercharge research outcomes and accelerate the cycle of discovery and innovation so that more solutions to societal challenges are available to people at a faster rate than ever. One of our greatest strengths as an agency is the robust partnerships and collaborations that we enable between NSF, academia, industry, and the broad research community. We want to continue to emphasize this importance, and we want to hear your input and ideas from everyone here today. Every individual, institution, and organization associated with NAI is a critical partner in strengthening and enhancing the scientific community. And as we move forward, I'm eager to continue to update you all on the work of NSF and our newest directorate, and for us to continue to work together to unleash the full innovative capacity of our great nation. Together, our collective impact will allow us to leap ahead into the future and accomplish all the unbelievable possibilities that are waiting for us. Thank you very much.
Well, it's not quite the same as having Panch in person, but it's still lovely to have him with us and to have his colleagues that are about to join us. It's my pleasure to introduce two colleagues of the federal government and, in fact, neighbors of the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. From the National Science Foundation, we have Don Millard, who serves as the Acting Deputy Assistant Director, and Elizabeth Mirowski, Program Director. They are both in the Innovation Corridor in Alexandria, Virginia, and probably have spent time on the USPTO campus. It's nice to have them with us today, and it is my pleasure to now invite them to the stage.
Hello all, it's a pleasure to be here, and we'll just get right into it. So first off, the perfunctory NSF slide. So here's our numbers. In terms of the types of things that we're doing, you'll see that there's about 43,000 proposals that are evaluated on an annual basis. So these numbers come from 21. We're still in 22. And if you look at it, this leads to approximately 2,000 institutions that are funded through NSF work. We also have 12,000 awards approximately that are provided each year. And we'll talk a little bit about those. But this is actually hopefully a good sign to you that there's a healthy opportunity for all of you to be able to submit proposals. In 22, we have some new priorities, some old, and you can read these. By the way, you'll all be able to access the slides that we're going to show today, so you don't have to really take pictures of our slides, but you'll have the opportunity to be able to actually take them home and look at them. So anyway, given that we're really looking at research and development throughout the agency, throughout all of the directorates that we have, we're hoping that that research leads to leadership for the U.S. And the one that I'm going to just briefly talk about is this advancing equity in science and engineering. And when we look at what the layout is today, you can see we're at an extreme deficit. In all of these bars, what you'll see is that we need to effectively double what we're doing today in terms of trying to broaden participation in science and engineering. So please consider, as you do the type of work you're doing, what could be more exciting than doing innovative work to be able to stimulate somebody's thoughts, process, and interest in science and engineering. And I know I'm preaching to the choir on this one, but I think it's a great opportunity for you to be able to pursue. And particularly in the engineering directorate, we've actually set aside $12 to $15 million this year just to support broadening participation efforts. Okay, so we have an existing set of directorates and offices across NSF. And I'm just going to start off with the engineering directorate. It is the one that I am a proud member of that community. Right now, I'm serving as the acting deputy assistant director. We have 4 divisions within engineering and 1 office. And the engineering divisions typically look like the disciplines that you would have in your universities, along with 1 office that looks at emerging frontiers and multidisciplinary activities, FMA. And I'd like to be able to just do a shameless ad for, we are currently searching for a division director of our Division of Electrical Communications and Cyber Systems. So any of you from the ECE community who have interest or know somebody who might be interested in this, please send them our way. And when I look at engineering writ large, you'll see that we basically have about 11,000 proposals, and we actually conduct 881 panels. And when you consider that 4 to 5 folks are sitting on a panel, we're really creating a great opportunity for people to be able to learn about the NSF programs. Our funding rate is approximately 20%. So you've got a 1 in 5 shot to be able to get a proposal funded. The Emerging Frontiers in Research and Innovation program that we have is one that I'm just targeting for you now in terms of an opportunity for the future. These are areas where we're looking at large-scale grants to be able to take an idea from its concept to the next phase of that idea, where you basically flesh out something that might be a really strange, wild idea. And we look for those kinds of proposals where people in the panels are going to say, I don't think they can do that. That's the kind of thing we're looking for in those areas. We also fund industry, university, cooperative research centers. These are larger scale awards, but not a lot of NSF money goes into it. It's a very highly leveraged program, and it allows us to be able to really get a lot of student, faculty, industry cooperative activities going and fund them. There's also the Engineering Research Center program. This is 10 years of funding, sort of the holy grail for centers, and it allows us to be able to actually do work that in the Gen 4 version of the engineering research centers are really meant to be able to focus the engineering community with new areas of impact, the scientific enterprise writ large, and what we've really added is you need to be able to show and identify what's the societal benefit of what you're hoping to do. Okay, so that said, here's the talk of the hour. We now have a new directorate, TIP. And this started in March, it was announced, and it's basically a horizontal cut across the different directorates that we have to really try and further the innovation and partnerships that we've embarked on over the years. It's really meant to be able to accelerate development of new ideas, new products, new technologies that really are focused on what all of us will use in our everyday life. We also are looking at this to be able to strengthen the US economy. The president's budget had a significant increase in budget funding for TIP. Unfortunately, in 22, we didn't get the full amount that was requested. We're hoping in 23 we end up with something different. And when you look at the type of areas that we're focusing around, initially our thoughts are around advanced manufacturing, wireless, our AI and machine language, biotechnology, microelectronics and semiconductors, and you clearly heard a passionate reason why we need to invest in that, and quantum information science as well. When you look at TIP, it has a variety of different programs. It has 2 areas of focus in technology translation and innovation technology ecosystems. Those are the 2 divisions that are associated with it. And of course, one of the real goals here is to be able to accelerate the partnerships that NSF has, as well as all you will have with the GROW. And one of those that we were at the ground floor was the Intel activity to be able to build a new chip fab in Ohio. And this is one that will allow us to be able to look at the future of where microelectronics and semiconductors really need to be able to go. To be able to get from, as Mark put it earlier, from the transistor to the iPhone, we're hoping that we can shorten that cycle from 75 years, well, actually probably 50 years, down to 10, 20-year time frame to be able to really get those fundamental breakthroughs that allow us to be able to do things. And as a part of that, we have looked at being able to fund larger scale activities, regional innovation engines. And these are ones where the focus is on, first, regional, something that takes advantage of Ohio as an example of a region where we look at what is the manufacturing base, what is the industrial base around that region, what are the state and local involvement, what are the universities that are associated with that, and how might they be able to form together to be able to work in an area like artificial intelligence, or be able to allow us to stimulate greater thought around biotechnology, et cetera. In addition, we're looking at a different scale for these. So the next part is the innovation scale. And here we're looking at being able to fund these at the level of somewhere around $10 million to be able to really bring in the industry aspect of it, make it attractive enough to be able to have industry conducting the research alongside of academia. They were also looking at iterative co-design of the types of concepts that we bring to fruition, and to be able to use cohort-based training and do formative feedback throughout the process to be able to evaluate what changes need to be made at the different stages of development. There's a scaling aspect to this where we're not looking at just a single PI investigator project. There's going to be a CEO associated with these engines that we're trying to create, and that CEO will be running, in essence, a small entity in comparison to a company, but not necessarily to a project, to be able to make sure that the activity is capable of being sustained and capable of being scaled from one region over to another region ultimately. We're really looking at trying to be able to change the culture associated with how regions react to the types of problems that they may be facing, and to be able to come up with a way to integrate a variety of different areas, not just the technology, but the societal aspect of what's going on, the behavioral science, the economic science as well. So, what is an engine? Well, we're looking at trying to be able to take advantage of the NSF engine, which is our research directorates. How can we be able to take those research directorates and do translation of an idea that's ready for that stage of development? And we're looking at regional partners that will work together to be able to really create an ecosystem where the students are supported, they move into potentially graduate degree programs, to doctoral degree programs, postdocs, they become faculty, faculty support those students, and industry also is looking at a rich talent pool for their workforce development to support the future technical needs that they may have in terms of the types of technical areas they're developing. Again, we're going to be looking at the leadership of these by a CEO and partners from a variety of different entities, including higher education, government, and not-for-profits. So with that, I'll just say that we're hoping to be able to stimulate a good deal of interest around this. The deadlines are approaching for concept outlines and letters of intent. Please look this up on the website. We'd love to have your ideas. And I'll just close with, before saying that one of the things that I'm most proud of is, how many of you were in I-Corps? Not bad, but being a founding father of I-Corps, I really feel as if it's your group, it's your passion we want to engage in new activities as NSF throws them out onto the field and looks for support. Here's a golden opportunity for that. And more specific details, you're going to have the expert on that, Ella.
Thanks, Don. Appreciate it. So at this point, you can see that the regional innovation engines are looking at a very larger systems level view and really trying to harness solutions to complexity through multidisciplinary convergence. And so we have several different programs that are at a smaller scale that kind of have certain elements of these engines. And so the first one I'm going to briefly discuss is Convergence Accelerator. This is it's a phased approach. There's 3 phases. One is sort of just the topic identification. Second one is, and third one are actually doing the sort of convergence research. Phase 1 being something where you actually start to really put down a plan of how you're going to work in a multidisciplinary effort. It's about $750,000 for you to create that community of inventors and of researchers to be able to solve a solution that is causing some, societal issues. And so there's different tracks that have been identified and have been released at different times to sort of help people focus on sort of what has been seen by the communities as issues. And so the follow-on funding is about $5 million in phase 2, should you be successful in really harnessing a powerful plan to solving and being able to meet milestones, figure out what milestones you need to meet, what prototypes, what products you need to generate out of this, what's that going to look like as it's being translated out of the lab and into to touching communities and people. Another favorite, of course, because Don's here, is Innovation Corps, I-Corps. This is something that was originally offered to university researchers, scientists, students, and has been expanded into sort of hubs and nodes where other folks can access it through those hubs and nodes who potentially aren't necessarily researchers at the university. So it's now expanding from university all the way through our SBIR program to be able to be a supplement to those companies that are even coming to us that aren't coming specifically directly spun out of academia. And so in this case, it's a $50K grant that really focuses on product market fit. There's a lot of coaching done in this program for you to really be able to understand what it is that the customer needs. The most important aspect in these programs, and this one in particular, is the ability to listen. It's the easiest thing to do because you don't have to worry about anything. You can put your anxiety away. You can, really just let yourself shine by listening to what people have to say. And then you can think about it, revel in it. When I think about science, I think about the base part of science is observation, right? So when we are scientists, at heart, we're observing something from the truth of it all, and that's where we expect you to go when you go to I-Corps, except now you're listening to what people need, right? What do they need, and does what I have fit that? I have numerous stories of companies that have been funded in phase 1 of an SBIR program that have done customer discovery and pivoted their technology to something that was going to generate a sustainable business revenue model. So we also have another program called the NSF GEM Inclusion and Innovation Initiative, and this is specifically targeted for improving diversity. Our programs have been around for decades, and even now we're still not seeing that sort of that chart that Dawn had earlier. Is we're not really representing the population, and so the goal of this really is to support underrepresented academic researchers in launching successful tech startups. Through entrepreneurial training. And the goal is to increase participation from underrepresented communities. I believe this one, I don't recall how much this is, but $3.5 million has been dedicated to NSF for awards in this category. Another funding mechanism is Partnerships for Innovation. This is where the academic institution can still apply to continue to do research, but it's more focused towards finding that applied science project. What is it that this technology is going to do? So I now notice that I've created this surface and I've been able to do this at the nanoscale. What can I do with it, right? So identifying sort of what the potential marketplace is. This is in conjunction with I-Corps. And so being able to identify where that technology can be applied and then de-risking it a little more so that it is ready for an SBIR phase 1, phase 2 applied research program. These basically are 2 different categories. There's one that requires a partnership with an academic industry partnership. It is 3 years, 36 months, and you can obtain about $550,000 of grant funds for that. And the other one is tech transfer, which is just one institution, 18 to 24 months and $250,000. And we've seen definitely some trajectory where people have their fundamental research program, then they go to PFI, start to produce an applied technology problem and a solution to it, and then translate that into SBIR, STTR. So there's another supplemental funding opportunity called the Sprint opportunity. This basically is also recognizing the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 pandemic on female academic researchers, and specifically in that, when we have families, and we have to make a living, oftentimes the person who isn't necessarily making the higher salary will end up being the person who stays at home with the kids during a pandemic. And in certain cases, this happened to be the female academic researchers, among other potential reasons for this. So the importance here is that, we help to restart those research efforts and translate them into something that can touch the communities that we're here to serve, and also generate an economic impact that makes us sustainable, and even the NSF sustainable as it is, all funded by taxpayer revenue. And so it can basically be up to 20% of the PFI award. Where I actually live in the SBIR STTR program, so this is the closest to my heart. I am the program director for advanced manufacturing, mobility, energy storage, battery technology, semiconductors, photonics. And if you haven't read my background, you know I've touched a lot of different technologies. And so this is my heart, and we provide up to $2 million of funding, and we take zero equity. That's the most important part, is you still have control of your company. You have all the decision making that you can make, to the best of, your business model. And so the whole goal here is that you actually still have a high risk technical innovation that needs to be vetted. And so the specifics around that should be that you have to de-risk these, and that a VC investor still is not interested in you. They tell you, we're not interested in you yet because we don't know who your customer is. We don't know what your actual product's going to look like. Great idea. You think it's going to fit there, but there isn't enough evidence to support that. So that's where we come in, is we help you get that evidence through research. So we award about $200 million to about 400 startups across the United States each year. So that's we have about a 20% funding rate for phase 1 and about 40% for phase 2. And the idea here is that we have, basically phased approach, $275,000 for 6 to 12 months research. And then if you're successful in de-risking the highest risk elements, then you can go on to get a phase 2 award through a competitive process. So you still have to have a good research plan. And that could be up to $1 million and 24 months. And then there's also opportunities for supplements and third-party investment matching of another up to $700,000. So to qualify for the SBIR-CTR program, it has to be set up as a for-profit organization, which can also be a for-benefit corporation, which is something that is being adopted by numerous states here in the US. It has to have 500 or fewer employees. It has to be located in the US, and 51% owned and controlled by US individuals, and all of the employees need to be working physically in the US. That's something important to say today, and now during the pandemic, a lot of remote work has been going on. To give you a flavor of what a company avatar looks like, it's 95% of the companies have 10 or fewer employees. We're really looking at the earliest stages of startups and inception and idea. 81% have been founded in the past 5 years, and 59% of them are first-time SBIR STTR winners. We, as an organization, are not a customer. We do not ask for any specific technologies. We want you to go to the customers, to go to communities, go to the marketplace, and find out what is needed, and then find that evidence, present that evidence to us, and let us know where we should be investing our funds. So outputs of our portfolio are that we have $14 billion in follow-on institutional financing and 200 successful exits. I'm going to go through this since I have 42 seconds. You can submit a project pitch. That's the first step in order for you to, for us to determine whether or not your project fits with our solicitation requirements. We have a review process that's very similar to the rest of NSF's review process, except a commercial potential section. And we really are looking for novel, proprietary, high risk, high reward projects. We don't fund basic research. We don't fund incremental evolutionary improvements and projects where there's no chance of commercial success. We are hiring program directors. And then the last thing I want to say with my 4 seconds is I will be here starting at noon today, and there's an NSF room here. Please do come visit me and ask me any of the questions that you might have about our programs. Happy to bring up the website and kind of walk you through things. So thank you for your attention. And with that, we'll close. Very nice. You have to bring it back? All right. Yeah.
So just very quickly, one thing. How many of you know about EAGERS? EAGERS. Okay. So please Google EAGERS, NSF EAGERS. It allows you to be able to submit proposals, wild-ass ideas, pardon my French, and be able to get $300,000 to be able to actually explore it. And they're reviewed only by program officers. So please, it's a great opportunity. Thanks very much.
We'll see you later.